Hi everyone, hope you are having a good day. Today I am going to pick up reading where we left off in The Super Awful Superheroes of Classroom 13. Remember, we were discovering what all the kids and their teacher, Miss Linda, had gotten zapped by a purple lightning bolt that gave them all superhero powers. And they are discovering that the superhero powers are not as great as what they thought having a superpower would be like. So today we're going to start with Chapter 7, Chloe. That's all it says for Chapter 7. You might think I forgot to write Chloe's chapter, but I didn't. You see, Chloe got the power of invisibility. So that's how I wrote the chapter. Invisible. You're welcome. That's kind of funny, huh? And on to Chapter 8, Santiago. What happens to a superhero when they're super sick? Asked Santiago. Santiago had the worst cold. All he wanted was to warm up. And now, well, actually, he's burning up. Like for real. As in, he burned a hole in the desk just sitting there. I don't own a thermometer, but he's got to be running 3,000 degrees hotter than most kids. You see, the supercloud that gave everyone in Classroom 13 superpowers had given Santiago pyro powers, which meant he could make and control fire. As it says cool, and then it's hot is written over there. As hot as that sounds, it didn't do much for Santiago's horrible cold. Instead of sneezing snot out of his nose, he sneeze-blasted fireballs straight through his box of tissues. Extra strength tissue? Santiago said, reading the Kleenex box labeled snot. Every time Santiago sneezed, something in the 13th classroom caught on fire. Miss Linda and the local fire department was getting tired of putting out the little fires. Young man, I am happy you felt well enough to come to school today, but I am calling your mother. I must insist she take you home, Miss Linda said. But Santiago didn't want to miss school. Every time Santiago missed a day of class in Classroom 13, something unlucky or disastrous or terrible happened, and he didn't want to miss anything, be it super or awful, especially not when everyone had superpowers. Hold on, Miss Linda, Santiago said. There must be some way for me to control my powers. Let me try something. He held his breath and sat perfectly still. Slowly, his flames died down. There, he said breathlessly. I just won't breathe. No more fire. You won't even know I'm... But as we all know, you can't hold in a sneeze. Achoo! Santiago sneezed such a huge fireball, it punched a hole right through the 13th classroom wall. I'm sorry, Santiago. You are sick, Miss Linda said. You must go home. Santiago's mom drove to school and picked him up, then took him to the fire department. They put him in a fireproof suit. While all his classmates and friends were out and about using their superpowers in the real world, Santiago was forced to return home and miss out on all the fun, again. His mom brought him a bowl of chicken soup. He tasted it. It's cold, so heat it up, his mom said. Santiago took off his fireproof gloves and boiled the soup in his blazing hands. He hated being sick. It made him steaming angry. Chapter 9, Yuna. You might be wondering, where's Yuna? Or, what's her superpower? Or, what's her story? That was me wondering about that, but what were we talking about? Oh yes, Yuna. I know all about Yuna, but she said I could only tell you in Morse code. If you can figure that out, you are a lot smarter than I am. Chapter 10, Jaden Jansen. Did you see Jaden? Fatima had been jotting down notes about all of her classmates. She approached Jaden Jansen James, a.k.a. Triple J, a.k.a. the most popular kid in the classroom, and asked, So what's your power? I'm not sure, he said. Try to do something, Fatima suggested. Triple J felt sudden strength in his muscles. With one swift chop, he broke his desk in half. When he jump kicked, he flew into the air. When he punched, he hit with the force of 1,000 ninja warriors inside his fist. I got super kung fu, Triple J said. Actually, that's karate, Fatima said. Triple J shrugged. Whatever. That night, Triple J put his superhero costume together. He went to the local mall and bought a karate-gi. That's the name for the uniform in Japanese. Then he tied a headband around his forehead. He also renamed himself J-Fu. J-Fu planned to fight crime and protect the people in his neighborhood. The only problem? J-Fu lived in a really nice, safe community. Instead of chasing down villains on rooftops, J-Fu chased cats out of trees. Instead of stopping armored car heists, J-Fu fixed flat tires. Instead of battling bat monsters and boogeyman, J-Fu battled being bored. The fact was, his neighborhood didn't need a superpowered hero. J-Fu skulked back to his house feeling useless. His mom was making dinner, spaghetti and meatballs. J-Fu was about to toss his G in the trash when he saw she needed help. I can't get this jar of sauce open, his mom said. Pasta night will be ruined. With the mysterious ancient spinning palm technique, J-Fu opened the pasta sauce jar with ease. A smile blossomed on his mom's face. She cried, Jaden, you're my hero. J-Fu took an honorable bow. You may thank my powerful kung fu. Actually, that was karate, she said. Then his mom sat him down and gave him a long talk about the differences between martial arts. Not even a super-powered karate hero can stand against a mother's lecture. Chapter 9, Preya. Preya felt like no one ever listened to her. In class, she talked and talked and talked, and Miss Linda was always saying things like, Preya, please be quiet during my lesson, or Preya, no talking during tests. It was the same at home. Her brother always said, Preya, quit talking during my TV shows. Her dad always said, Preya, hush, I'm on a work call. Her older sister, who she shared a room with, always said, Preya, I'm doing my homework. Shh. Why didn't anyone ever listen to Preya? Of course, once she got her powers, they didn't have a choice. If people thought she was loud before, which they did, nothing could prepare them for her new super powerful voice. What's wrong with my voice? She asked. But it was so loud it blew out the classroom windows. Every eye in classroom 13 was on Preya, including all 8 of Dev's spider eyes. No more talking, Preya, Miss Linda said. You'll wreck the school. Preya clapped her hands over her mouth. When she got home, she didn't say anything. She watched TV with her family, but she was too scared to speak. But at dinner, her mom asked, How was school today, dear? Preya shook her head. Don't be rude, Preya. Answer your mother, her dad said. It was weird, she said. Her voice was so powerful, it knocked over the kitchen table and blasted her family out of their chairs. What is going on? Her father shouted. Preya, explain this instant. Preya shook her head. If you don't tell us, you're grounded, her mother insisted. Not wanting trouble, she answered, I got superpowers. Her voice exploded the fridge and the dishwasher. You are grounded, young lady, her mother shouted. But you made me speak, Preya yelled. Her yell was even more powerful. It blasted a hole in their kitchen wall. Not another word, her father growled. Preya was furious. Even with superpowers, no one wanted to listen to her. Of course, if she were a supervillain, they would have to listen. Preya smiled mischievously. Chapter 12, Mark. Mark was unbearably handsome. Everyone in classroom 13 thought so. Even the 13th classroom agreed. So when everyone got superpowers, everyone was curious what superpowers Mark would get. At the time of the lightning strike, Mark was thinking of one thing, salty corn chips. He loved salt and he loved corn chips. He could eat them day and night. He could eat them for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. He liked them plain or with yogurt or with cheese, as long as they were salty. So what powers did he get? Well, he got the power to control corn chips. What does that mean? Well, if you control metal, it's like you have magnet powers. You can move metal in the air and bend metal and make metal do whatever you want. Mark's powers work the same way. He could move corn chips in the air and bend corn chips, which would break, and make corn chips do whatever he wanted. Mostly, he made corn chips fly into his mouth. Every once in a while, he helped his friends fight crime. You might be wondering how. Well, when Mark saw a robber robbing a bank or a bully bullying someone smaller, he used his control over chips to make them fling salt into the villain's eyes. Have you ever gotten salt in your eye? It really hurts. If you haven't gotten salt in your eyes, good for you. If you have, then you know what I'm talking about. What's that? Why would I put salt in my eyes? I didn't do it on purpose. I was eating chips, salty, delicious corn chips. Why do they have to be so darn delicious? Chapter 13, the 13th classroom. When the students of classroom 13 were struck by lightning, the classroom laughed out loud. Of course, no one heard the classroom over the thunder outside. But when the students turned out to be okay and not hurt at all, and in fact had been given superpowers, the 13th classroom was more furious than ever. It had always wanted to be a superhero. Why didn't it get superpowers too? This was so unfair. The 13th classroom vowed revenge for the 4th time. Then the classroom remembered that Halloween was coming up, which inspired a terrible, horrible, nasty idea. All right, we will stop there. We will start next time on chapter 14 and find out what powers Lily got. Hope you're still enjoying it.